welcome to start. I hope you're all feeling ready to work those hips this evening. Okay, so come to stand. As I say, you might want something just to help with your balance a little bit, but let's just warm up. We're not going to focus on the hips to begin with. We'll come back to the hips. Okay, to begin with, we're going to work into our shoulder set position, and this movement comes back a little bit later on. So just do a nice big breath in, roll the shoulders up, and then gently release any tension from the shoulders as they melt down and away from your ears. Start to bring a little bit of tension into that lower tummy, and we're going to maintain that gentle tension as we take one arm up towards the ceiling, sinking the shoulder blade down into the back pocket, and then we slowly lower that arm down and we replace it with the other arm. So think about tightening that tension, tightening the buckle on your belt ever so slightly more as the arm floats up, and think about the heaviness of your shoulder blades drawing down, melting down your rib cage as the arm floats up. So nice and slowly to begin with, and we can connect in with our breathing then. So breath slowly, slow breath out as you come up and in as you lower down. Well done, great posture all round. Okay, so if you wanted to go for alternate arms, so as the one arm floats up, then the other one lowers down, and we just kind of get that scissoring motion in between. So gently tighten your tummy as the arms scissor, and then release as one comes to the top and the bottom. Same again, and it's all about that control around your spine. So making sure the ribs don't flare forwards, making sure the back doesn't arch. We're keeping that lovely, stable, long spine. Good work. Okay, let's start to add a bit of coordination now. So opposite arm, opposite leg. Left hand goes up, right heel peels off the floor. And then we switch, left heel peels off the floor as the right heel comes up. So as you get that kind of scissoring motion in the middle, you're coming up onto tiptoes and then swapping, okay? So we should have really kind of honed in on that shoulder position. So now we're going to think about the pelvis position. As we switch, try to avoid too much side to side motion, that bucket of water staying nice and level, yeah? And then if you want to take it a little bit quicker, you can. Or for more of a challenge, keep it slow, and rather than heel lift, we're going to float the leg off the mat. So you will find you need to shift your weight across slightly to allow you to peel that heel off the mat, but make sure that that standing leg, the hip stays tucked in and doesn't pop out to the side, yeah? So spirit level, resting across the bones of your pelvis, and your pelvis stays level irrespective of what your foot is doing, okay? And we're aiming to get that knee up to hip height or thereabout. So either a heel lift or a foot lift. Good work. Starting to bring an awareness now into these hip flexor muscles. Okay, I promised you balance. So a couple more for me. And then your option is you're either going to be here with the peeled off the mat, pause here on one leg, and then maybe see if you can float into tabletop and back down again, or hold your tabletop position. So find that balance point and hold. Now really squeeze this bottom. This is what we want to work now. So no hips poking out to the side, tuck them underneath. Standing legs should be working just as hard as your lifted leg. 5, 4, watch those shoulders. 3, good work. 2 and 1. Slowly down. Swap over. Arms can change, and we either peel and heel lift and lower, or lift and hold, okay? Really tuck that standing leg underneath. Gently drawing in with the lower tummy, shoulder set position, be as tall as you can. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, lift that knee half an inch higher, 3, 2, and 1. Lovely. Slowly come down and give those legs a little bit of a stretch out. So we've gone quite slow so far. We're going to keep it slow from now. We'll work a bit harder in a moment because we're still going to challenge that balance. So if you need to hold on to something, you can do. We're going to focus just on one leg now. So I want you to imagine 3 points of contact. One is to your side, one is to the back corner of your room, and one is behind you. Now you're trying to touch those points of contact without losing that lovely control around your pelvis. So hands on your hips, or one hand on your hip and one hand on your chair or wall or what have you. Shift your weight across to your standing leg and soften that knee. Now stretch the opposite leg out to the side without letting the hips hitch. Come back to the center. Stretch it to the back corner of the room now. Back to the center, and then stretch it out behind you. Notice how my shoulders haven't changed position at all. So your torso stays stacked over your pelvis as your leg moves. And you should feel it hit different parts in your glutes. So we go from kind of this side region, coming slightly more into the back buttock, and then all the way into those nice big juicy glutes. Good. Same legs, so keep going. Tap to the side, to the diagonal, and out behind. Keep a focus on that pelvis. So we're not kind of throwing our hips. We're not in a salsa class. We're in a Pilates class. It's all about control of those hips. And I want you to squeeze and focus on those glutes. Keep it going. Same side. Ever so slightly softening that standing leg so it's not locking out. Beautiful. Watching that knee position on your standing leg. Make sure it's over your second toe and not caving inwards. You've got one more round. Beautiful. Okay, go back to your first position. So leg out to the side. So your standing leg should be feeling a little bit tired now, yeah? We're going to load it up even more. So we're going to hover that leg off the mat, or we're going to pulse here, okay? So hold on to something if you need some balance. Pulse or hold. So legs out to the side. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lovely. Touchdown. Have a pause. You've probably worked out now. We're going to go back into that diagonal corner. So aim for the back corner of your room. Shift onto your standing leg. Leg comes out to the back now. Either hold it or pulse it. Good. Watch that pelvis, level pelvis. Try not to tilt across. Shoulders stacked over your hips. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lovely. Come back in. Oh, that standing hip. We're feeling it now. Okay. Final one on this side. So behind you. And I want you to really focus on lengthening your spine. So try and keep your tail tucked underneath. Don't lose that control and arch your back. Lift and hold, or lift and pulse. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lovely. Come back down and just give those legs a little bit of a shake out. Good stuff. How are we all doing? Feeling okay? Ready for the second side? Let's go for it. So just starting with those 3 points of contact, yeah? Same again. Don't be alarmed if this side feels harder, because our gesture leg is now the leg that just took all the load. So it's going to be tired. And this leg's done a lot of work just now, okay? So when you're ready here, just go straight into it. So tap to the side, to the back diagonal, and behind, okay? Bring your focus back into your pelvis. Maybe gently work your pelvic floor. So gentle squeeze of your pelvic floor when you tap out, and then release as you tap back in again. Tap back and behind. Control the pelvis. Shoulders are stacked over your hips. Tray of drinks resting on your head. Everything stays nice and stable. The only thing we see moving is that gesture leg. That's it. Shake it out. Come back in. Good work. Couple more rounds, looking really good. Easy one to do when you're brushing your teeth, this one. Challenge yourself to reach a bit further on your final round. Lovely. Okay, take it out to the side, holding on if you need to, or keep that pelvis level. We're going to either lift and hold, or we're going to lift and pulse. And it is a tiny movement, isn't it? But we do it with control. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lovely, come down. Shaking it out. We are going to feel these glutes tomorrow. Okay. Take it to that back corner for me. So extend on that diagonal line. Lift and hold, or lift and pulse. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good stuff. Come back in. Nearly there. Heart rate coming up. Finish off on that behind for me. So lengthen that leg out behind. Long spine, yeah, no arch in the back. Keep your tail tucked underneath. Squeeze your bottom. Lift and hold. Or 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lovely. Step wide now along your mat. We have warmed those glutes up, so let's bring some power to them now. Toes turned out, tail tucked underneath, shoulders over the hips. You know what's coming. Nice deep pelvic plie squat. So coming down and pushing up. Slide down the wall and then gently squeeze through the pelvic floor to lift up. Release the pelvic floor and tighten. Good. Keep those shoulders stacked over your hips. Try not to come forwards as you come down. We want that long spine. Let's get those legs working. Looking good. Well done. Send the knees in the same direction as your toes so that the arches of the feet are ever so slightly lifted. We're opening out into the inner thigh now. So hips, inner thigh. We're going to work a lot of this area this evening. Good stuff, although we don't have a lot of time. So we're going to do 3 more like this. Breathing out as you come up. Squeeze that pelvic floor. 2 more, well done. Holding your next one. Remember those arms from earlier? They're going to come back. So set your posture. How low can you take it? Tummy gently drawn in. Co-contraction with your pelvic floor. And we're back to those toy soldier arms again. So scissoring the arms midway. If that's too much to think about, just slow the arms down a little bit. The arms just serve as a distraction. Those legs, we're going to feel it in a bit more in our thighs, but also opening out the knees and squeezing your bottom, and you will feel it in your hips. If you can't, go wider and take your squat deeper, because you should feel this in your legs, especially after that little star movement. Okay, beautiful. So coming up when you need to, and then sitting back down when you can. Looking good, everyone. Keep it going. You've got 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. I'd love to pretend this is the countdown, but this is just the count to the next thing. 3, 2, 1. Take both hands overhead now. Watch that shoulder position, yeah? Legs should be really warm, okay? We're holding here, or we're holding here. So heels can stay down or heels can lift. Keep that pelvic floor switched on now. We're opening up the pelvic bones. So we want to keep that internal strength. Now we can stay with a hold or we can take it into pulse, and that's for both options, heels down or lifted. Watch those shoulders haven't crept up with the concentration and the effort. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, heart rate's up now, yeah? 3, 2, and 1. Lovely. Slowly come down and push up to stand. Nice work, everyone. Okay, toes pointing forwards, keep those feet wide. We're just going to take it from side to side now. So again, focusing on the hips, but the inner thigh, groin, nice long stretch through that straight leg. Just move left and right. Chance just to breathe. and bring that heart rate down. How we're doing for time. I'm always amazed how quickly these sessions go. So you better come down onto the mat, just enjoy a few more. So we've got a little bit of a kneeling sequence next. So 4-point kneeling, a little bit into the wrists. So do what you need to, knuckles, take it a little bit longer. Okay, so go back to the center, step your feet together. We'll just do one roll down just to bring us into our box position. Okay, so start off nice and tall. And slowly peel down through your spine. So you're just moving your bones of your spine slowly away from the wall. One bone at a time. We'll keep this one soft, so allow your knees just to gently bend. And then bring yourself onto the mat into your box position. Lovely, yeah, just take your time, looking good. Give you a second just to make any adjustments with your cameras if you need to. Lovely, looks like we're all there. Okay, just remind yourself of your setup, because to really optimize that movement in your hips, that engagement of your hips, we want that pelvis to stay nice and level. So you've got your tailbone lengthening towards your heels, okay? So not completely rounded, but a bit of a pull, as if a piece of string is just being drawn from your tailbone in the direction of the back wall, okay? Even though we're focusing on hips here, it's still a good opportunity to work the upper back. So shoulders are melting away from the ears. Press through the heels of the hands so the shoulder blades wrap around the rib cage and that neck gets a good workout. So look between your hands when you're happy with what you're doing and keep the back of your head lifted. So you might start to find your head starts to hang down. So every now and then just recheck in on that position. Okay. Two options with this. Your options really are whether you keep your foot in contact with your mat or whether you add a lift up. We've done this loads of times before, you know what's about to come. So pelvic floor or tummy gently drawn in without spilling your drinks. Slowly start to extend your foot behind you until your leg is straight. Squeeze your thigh. So option one, level one stays here. Level two takes it into a lift. But keep that tension on that piece of string where your tailbone is being drawn towards the back wall. Okay, you tap down and you fold back in. And then we alternate. So take it over to the second side. Drawing that pelvic floor or tummy in as the leg lengthens, maybe adding that lift. No banana back, so no arching of the back. Keep your spine long. You don't have to lift high. You don't have to take your foot to hip height. Maybe just hover it off the mat to begin with. Squeeze your bottom as you lift and then lower. Okay, now if at any point you need to, just sit back, give your wrists a little bit of a stretch and then join back in. Because even though, as I say, we're not really focusing on the wrists and the shoulders, but they're getting a workout just for free, so they can get a little bit tired just from that pressure. Now, I really want you to focus these next few, control around the pelvis. Is your pelvis tipping across to the side of your leg that's staying on the mat? You have permission to look down on this next one. So look between your shoulders, in down towards your knees. When you next lengthen your leg behind and maybe add the lift, has your hip drifted across towards that side on the leg that isn't moving? Or is your hip beautifully stacked over your knee? So imagine on the side that isn't moving, you're next to a painted wall. You're so close to that wall that if you tip across, you're going to get pain all on the side of your leg. So keep that hip stacked. And if you struggle to do that, don't lift your leg or don't lift it quite so high. Let me come and see how you're getting on. So super simple, but we're being really precise now with that movement. Looking good. Watch those heads. Gently pull your ponytails up. That's it. Lovely. Okay, we're going to take one leg out behind now. And we're either going to hold it, so holding it here, or holding it here. Okay, now focus on really engaging through your tummy. Hold that leg. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Keep the same leg lifted. Stretch the opposite arm forwards. Fingertips can stay on the mat, or we can take it into full lift. Then we lower the arm, but keep the leg lifted. Draw the arm back in, same side. So you're keeping the same leg lifted and working on opposite arm. It stretches along the mat and then maybe floats back up again. Breathe out as we lengthen that arm. Watch those shoulders, watch that head. 4 more. So you could stay here or here. This leg can come down if it needs to. 3 more. 2 more. And then we're going to hold the next one. So either holding with the toe and the fingertips pressed on the mat, or take it into full lift, yeah? Aeroplane, Superman, whatever you call it. Lengthen through your body. So imagine now that piece of string is being pulled from your toes to your fingertips, and you are making your body as long as you can. That will help with that position of your spine. Tummy drawn in. I know we've been here for ages, but we're going to go for it. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lovely. Touch down. Sit back into your heels and just take that weight out of your wrists for a moment. Breathe here for a second. And then when you feel ready, we're going to set up for the second side. So it's quite a long sequence, so shoulders and wrists might feel it a little bit more. If you're struggling, remember you can take that weight through your knuckles, or just bring your hands a bit further forward so that it just takes that extension out of your wrists. Okay, we're going to go for it. Second side, so set your box, think head, shoulders, tailbone. And then when you're ready, slowly start to lengthen the opposite leg. So we pause here, or we lift. Remember that painted wall? It's now on the opposite side. Oh, sorry, we've already done lifts, haven't we? We're going to lift and hold. I do apologise. So opposite leg, lift and hold. I almost took you through the whole sequence again. So you've got the opposite leg stretched out behind. We're lifting and holding, and then we're going to add the opposite arm in now. So stretching forwards, fingertips down, or maybe adding that lift. I want you to focus on this second side with the arms lifting and lowering. Really work on that shoulder position. So making sure, just like we did with our toy soldier, as the hand floats forwards and maybe upwards, that the shoulder doesn't creep up with it as well. So magnets are attached to the bottom of your shoulder blades. There's a big magnet on that wall behind you, and it's drawing your shoulder blades down. So keep the leg lifted and just repeat the arms. Beautiful. Nice and strong, well done. I know it's hard, you're doing great. You've got 4 more. 3 more. 2 more, and then we take it into hold. So either fingertips down or fingertips lifted, toes down, toes lifted. Make your body as long as you can. Watch that pelvis hasn't tipped across. Tummy drawn in, pelvic floor is working, and we're holding for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lovely. Come down and sit back into your heels. Good work. Okay, you can stay in this shell stretch, so as you are here, or take a little look at another way that we can work that inner thigh. Might not be for you, just stay in your shell stretch. Otherwise, we're going to take it into our box position, and then we're going to stretch one leg out to the side. So just open that leg position, or if you can, take the leg all the way out, so you've got a long leg on one side, and then we're just going to sit back into our heel and feel that lovely stretch again on the inner side of the thigh. Give it a try. The foot doesn't have to be all the way out, it can be kind of somewhere here, and you're pushing back and forwards. Yeah, just rocking back and forwards. Breathing out as you come back and in as you come forwards, and then see if you can hold this next one for a few breaths. So sitting back, 5, 4, 3, 2 and 1. Lovely, come back in. Okay, now replace that leg for the opposite leg, so a little bit of a stretch out to the side or all the way out. Okay, I know it's a bit of a difficult position to get into, but once you're there, start to think about pushing your hips towards your heels. It should feel absolutely lovely on the underside of this leg. Well, depends how you feel about stretching. If you don't like stretching, it won't feel nice. But this area, this inner thigh, is an area that we do neglect a little bit. And if you're sitting for a while, you might find that it gets a bit tight. Breathe out. Okay, and hold your next one. 5, 4, 3, 2, looking good, and 1. If you come back in and just gently bring your knees back together, and then just once more, just sit back into your heels for me, just in a normal shell stretch. And you might find that you've opened things up a little bit more. That's wonderful. Okay, so we're going to finish off in our bridge position, as that's a really good way of working your hips. So if you want to come to lie on your backs for me. And set yourself up in a bridge, but we're going to go for like a narrow stance. So bring your feet close together, okay? A bit different to what we usually work with. We usually go for hip distance apart. So feet and knees are gently pressed into one another. That's going to activate that inner thigh. So the adductor muscle group that we just lengthened, we're now trying to gently squeeze our knees and hips into one another, and our feet as well. Okay, now don't worry too much about peeling up off the mat. I want you to think about gently squeezing your glutes and lifting your hips. You might still get a bit of a peeling motion, but we're working more on the power of those glutes. As we squeeze the legs together, squeeze the inner thighs, you can tighten your pelvic floor and then lift those hips. I want you to really feel your bottom working, okay? So just squeeze and lift. Take it slowly though, it doesn't have to be quick. Feel the difference between your glutes being energized and switched on, to feel the difference between when you just release them. Breathe out as we lift and in as we lower. Okay, those legs should be getting warmer now. We've got 6 more like this. Squeeze the knees together, feel the inner thighs working. 5 more. Not long left till we're finished. Last little push. 3. That's looking good. 2. And 1. Lovely. Okay, now I want you to bring your feet back out to hip distance apart and carry on with your bridge. Lift and hold this next one for me. Okay, so hips are lifted, tail tucked underneath. And we're going to come back to that toy soldier now. So hold your bridge. See if you can bring one arm over to the top of your mat. Engage through the tummy and switch the arms. Okay, if you need to come down, lower down in between and then lift again. Lift and switch those arms. Now, if you don't need to come down, keep those hips lifted and just alternate through your arms. We've got a casualty of cramp. If you're getting the cramp, just stretch out and join back in. Well done. Okay, now you've probably worked out we've come full circle, we're back doing our toy soldiers. So your two options are, well, you can stay with the feet grounded, or you can take it into an alternate heel lift. And I want you to really focus on that stability around your pelvis. So don't let your pelvis drop down to one side. So heel lift, bridge lift, sorry. As the right hand comes over to the top, the left heel lifts off the mat. And then as the left hand comes over the top, the right heel lifts off the mat. And you get that little switch in between as well, where both heels are temporarily lifted off the mat. Okay, so that's your second option. Third option to finish, remember what we did earlier? We're going to take it into a tabletop float. Okay, now you've really got to work on that control of the pelvis, because it's so easy to let that hip dip as you come across. Rest the hips down whenever you need to. Join back in. Okay, we're not here for long. We've got about a minute of these, probably even less than a minute. Let me come and see how you're getting on, and then I'll give you a countdown. Beautiful, well done. Well done, Isabel, looks good. That's it, Sue. Well done, Liz. Good work. Well done, Jill, good option. Helen looking fab, Fiona looking good. Let's really get those tabletop knees over the hips. Paul, Ivana, Emma, I can't really see you, but I'm sure you're doing great. Okay, keep going. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Squeeze your bottom, squeeze your pelvic floor. 2, and release. Slowly come down and do exactly what we need to after those bridges. We take it into flexion of the spine and we hug the knees in towards us. And just exhale out. A little bit of a rock from side to side just to massage the small of your back. Really quick hip stretch. Please visit these in your own time. So one foot on the mat, the other foot on the knee. We open the hip out, and if you want to take it a bit deeper, just pull that knee towards you. So you should feel that in your outside of your hip. Okay, haven't got long left, so we're just going to swap it over, but you can obviously carry on with your stretching afterwards if you need to. So I hope you enjoyed that focus sequence on glutes. There was loads more in my class plan and didn't get around to doing it. So if you're here with me on Thursday, you're lucky, you'll get the full version. Otherwise, we'll try it out next week. Fab. So feel free to stay stretching as we finish off.